Hello Stampers and welcome to Laura's Stamp Pad. I am absolutely over the moon to show you this amazing card. I think in my 12 years of stamping, this is the card that has been the most amazing masterpiece that I've ever created. I am absolutely in love with it, and you just got to see it in person to really appreciate how amazing it is. So, of course, I had to do a video because that's the next best thing, because pictures just, oh, they don't do it justice. Check out that beauty. So of course it pops open for that fabulous little Z-fold, and look at all of that glimmer and fabulousness. I'm in love. I used navy and soft sky as the two colors, and crumb cake, and then I used a little bit of silver glimmer paper as well as silver foil paper there. And I used the stamp set and the framelit that coordinates together, so bundle and save. I used the Santa's Sleigh stamp set, so that's this one here. And I used the tree, I used the reindeer there, and then I used each of the presents and the greeting. And then the coordinating framelits, which are the Santa's Sleigh framelits, I used the reindeer to die cut the reindeer here. I used the tree to do the trees for the background. And then I used the sleigh. So the sleigh is actually two pieces. There's this piece here that does the navy base, and then there's this piece here that does that fabulous overlay that I did in the silver glimmer paper. I also used the star, so the background and all of the reins. I used the little star that's in the framelit set. And then there's actually two different bows that I used for the little presents here as well. So I used lots of images from the stamp set as well as lots of the coordinating framelits. So let's get started, and I'm going to show you how I did this amazing masterpiece. So the first thing you'll want to have is your regular card base. So your regular card base is just a normal card base. It is 4 1/4 by 11. So I scored that, just a half a sheet of paper, and then I scored that at 2 3/4 and 5 1/2. So 2 3/4 and then 5 1/2. So that's actually just half, like a normal card base, and then this top piece is half folded back. So there, that's how you get that fabulous Z-fold. I guess I'm technically backwards, right? So like that. So it's just a regular card base in half, and then in half for that top piece to get the Z-fold. Then you'll also need a piece of Whisper White, and this measures 1 inch by 11 inches. And again, this is also scored at 2 3/4 and 5 1/2. So this is going to be that base that all of your little reindeer are on. And again, you have that Z fold, so you'll see the Z goes across the front. Here, let's go ahead and I'll just do it on here. So it's really a double Z fold, so you can see that. That is actually our base for all of the amazing decorations. The other measurements I wanted to make sure that I gave you here in the beginning are all of the layers in the background. So you will need, I did soft sky and Whisper White. So for this big panel back here, that measures 4 inches by 5 1/4 in the soft sky, and then 3 3/4 inches by 5, which is just a 1/4 inch in from the base, and then a 1/4 inch in with the white, and then that'll go on that back panel. And then these two side panels are both the same, and so those are 2 1/2 by 4 for your soft sky, and then 2 1/4 by 3 3/4 for your Whisper White. So there you have all of your background panels. So that's your base, and then now I'm actually going to do some of the stamping and die cutting, and then we'll get ready to assemble. So let's just press this forward a little bit. Maybe we can kind of have it still peek in on the bottom of the screen there. So I have a piece of 8 1/2 by 5 1/2 of the crumb cake cardstock, and I'm going to take the reindeer and I'm going to stamp him. I need 6 reindeer. I'm stamping him in chocolate chip. So here I have my chocolate chip ink, and I was able to get all 6 of them onto this piece of cardstock. So they can be fairly close, but do make sure that you're not super close to the edge and not super close to each other, as then you won't have enough room for all of your reindeer. So I'm just going to stamp all of these down. And that bottom one, that one might actually not work because his hoof is really close to the edge. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then that would have been number 8. So that's okay. So I have 7 reindeer on this sheet of cardstock, and I probably could have just done 2 rows of 4 and got the full 8, but I decided to interlock them thinking I might save some paper, but that didn't happen. So there we have our 6 reindeer and an extra just in case we have any issues while die cutting them. Then I'm going to bring in a piece, just a scrap piece of both Soft Sky and Night of Navy. And so this is for your presents. So there's actually 3 different presents in the stamp set. They're the little like boxes that look kind of weird. Like this is a rectangle with a line down the center, and then another rectangle, and then a square. So I just stamped a few of each of them in both colors. So if we start with our nice little Soft Sky, then we can move over to our Night of Navy because that's a darker color without having to actually clean the ink pad. So there's a few of those. Let's do one more of that one. Then we'll move over and we'll do that one there, and then we'll also do one of the big ones. So then we'll save those to die cut as well. You will also need a piece of larger Soft Sky, and we'll need to cut or stamp a tree. So again, I'm using one of the images from the stamp set, the Santa Sleigh stamp set, and I'm just going to ink it up in the Soft Sky and stamp it onto Soft Sky. And so there's our 2 trees. So remember, we'll also need a 3rd tree that is done in silver foil paper. So I've already die cut that one in silver foil. And then I've also already die cut the sleigh in Night of Navy. Here, actually, I'm going to set it there. I think you might be able to see it better. The sleigh in Night of Navy, and then also the little sleigh overlay in that silver glimmer paper there. So now I'm going to head over to the big shot so that I can die cut out all those images, and I'll see you back here to assemble in a moment. Okay, so now we have all of our pieces and it is time to assemble. So again, we're going to bring in that navy blue base that we created and go ahead and adhere our Soft Sky and our Whisper White to each of the panels on the background. So you can use whatever adhesive you prefer. For this, I'm going to use Fast Fuse only because I'm using Fast Fuse for some of the other layers too. Oh, forgot that flick of the wrist. And so I just decided to use it for all of it. There are some spots that I will actually be using Stampin' Dimensionals for that little bit of extra oomph and texture. And then some of it that I'll actually be using the fine tip glue pen for those small little stars and other little pieces. So here we're putting on all of our layers. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp the greeting up in this corner. So again, I'm going to use that same greeting, Merry Christmas Wishes, and I'm going to do that in Night of Navy. So I have a little tip that I thought I would share with you while I'm doing this. The the Merry Christmas Wishes is a long, skinny stamp. So it fits well on block H, this long, skinny one, but it is still a large block. So sometimes you might have a little issue where you're rocking it. So one of the things that I have as a little tip is I am putting the greeting in the lower left-hand corner because I'm stamping in this upper right-hand corner. So if I perhaps put it in this corner here and I stamped and I accidentally got the clear block on my paper, I would end up with a line right there. Whereas if I end up falling off and hitting the clear block on my paper, it's off of my project. So that is much better to have it off your project than it is to have it on your project. So again, I'm going to go all the way to that edge there. Merry Christmas wishes right there at the top. And now I think we're done stamping and it's ready to finish assembling. So let's bring in that Whisper White band, and we're gonna go ahead and we're going to add that to our card. So you'll see that whenever it's closed, it's attached here on that front flap, and it's also attached here on that back flap. So what I'm going to do to attach that is I'm gonna go ahead and close this, close my card, and close my little band, and I'm going to add adhesive to the entire back of this band. So this is the little folded in half piece, so I'm going to add adhesive to that, and then this is half of the long piece, and I'm going to add adhesive to that. Now I don't want to like overlap the two and just do like one long strip of adhesive. Oh, there, I missed that flick again. Because otherwise I would end up with sticky on that corner. But now I know that none of the spots that are supposed to bend are going to have adhesive. So we're golden there. And then now it's time to lay this onto our card. And I went with the very bottom and lined it up with that bottom white white cardstock. So there, I lined it up with this rectangle of white, and I lined it up there on that bottom panel. So there we have that fabulous little Z fold going on there. And then now the first thing that we're going to add is our trees. So we have our silver foil tree and then our two stamped trees. And you'll see that I just added those to the background there. So you can place those on however you wish. I did one on this little panel, and I lined up the bottom stem with the bottom of the white, and then these two I offset just a little bit so that they're at differing heights, and then you have that more forest look. And then now we're going to go ahead and add all of our reindeer. So for the reindeer, you want to add the adhesive really just to the legs, because if you get up into the body, you're going to end up falling off of this piece here, and then it's going to stick whenever you fold it. So again, you can use the fine tip glue pen, or you can use any adhesive of your choice. Mini glue dots also work really well for this spot. So you can see I just added adhesive right below the belly there, and then on each of the four legs with my fine tip glue pen, just a nice little small amount. And then I'm actually going to overlap the two reindeer. So the first one goes in the front, the second one goes in the back. And two reindeer go on this first Whisper White panel, two on the second, and then two on this last piece here with our sleigh being at the very end. But we will want to put the sleigh on before we do that last set of reindeer, because I have the sleigh going underneath the reindeer. Okay, and before I do that last reindeer, I'm just going to do the sleigh. So I'm going to adhere the overlay over top of the sleigh using the fine tip glue pen, and then I'm going to add the sleigh here at the bottom. So what I actually did is the sleigh has this little extra piece that hangs off farther than this top little swirl, and so I went ahead and I trimmed that off so that I wasn't going too deep into my card into that last reindeer. So go ahead and you can add him on, and then I just made sure that this piece was connected, but then I just trimmed off the excess down here. So there we have our reindeer and our sleigh. So for the presents, I actually just added each of the presents in using the regular fast fuser snail, and you'll just want to tuck those in around all this area, and you can layer them as much as you want. And then there's the two little bows that you can add to the ones that are peeking out enough to have a bow on them. So there's the two little bows, and then all the different sizes of presents. So now let's add those on. I think I'm going to stop right there, and then now I'm just going to use the fine tip glue pen to add all my little bows. And then now we can add stars, and we still have to add our reins for our reindeer. Oh, and trim off that last little tail. Trim that off. And for all of the reins, I just took a piece of Whisper White Baker's twine, and I stuck the twine down right there by the reindeer's neck, added a whole bunch of the fine tip glue pen, and then placed a star right on top of it. And then just hold for a couple seconds, and then you can move on to the next one. Be sure to leave a little bit of extra so that you have a little swag in your reins so that they're not super tight. So then I just took the end of the rein there in that top loop of the sleigh and then trimmed off the excess. So then you'll want to make sure you allow all those to dry, but you can go ahead and add all of your final stars. So I usually just kind of dab around in a few spots with the fine tip glue pen and then go through and add my stars. And there you have that fabulous Z-fold card, double Z-fold. Isn't it just amazing? Love, love, love it. Of course, I'll have all of this information posted on my blog as well, laurastampad.com, so you can check that out. Also, I will put a link over here so that you can see another style of the Z-fold and the single Z-fold card. You can check out that video. Of course, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Be sure to subscribe if you're new, as I post every Tuesday and Thursday. And I'll see you next time. Happy stamping, everyone. Bye-bye.